The 2025 NFL trade deadline is officially behind us, and now the spotlight turns back to Orchard Park, where the Buffalo Bills are gearing up for another crucial stretch of football. But just as the team looks to refocus, a wave of unexpected news has shaken the locker room. Before we jump into the latest updates, make sure you subscribe to the channel, drop a like, and don't forget to hit that bell icon, so you never miss breaking news and deep dive analysis on your Buffalo Bills. Alright, let's get right into it. The big story. James Cook, the engine of Buffalo's offense, is hurt. Cook, one of the most explosive and consistent playmakers on this roster, went down with an ankle injury during last week's matchup against Kansas City. When the official injury report dropped Wednesday, fans didn't like what they saw. Cook was listed as DNP, did not practice. His status for Week 10 against Miami now hangs in the balance. From multiple game replays, analysts believe the injury came on a hip drop tackle, one of the more dangerous, and often controversial, moves still seen in football today. Cook's ankle appeared to twist awkwardly underneath him, and while he didn't leave the field during the game, the pain clearly caught up in the following days. The good news? He managed to finish the game without a trip to the locker room. The bad news? He's not practicing, and his availability for this Sunday is uncertain, a brutal blow for a team already fighting to stay near the top of the AFC East. And it's not just any player we're talking about. James Cook has been sensational this season. He's been averaging nearly 6 yards per carry, closing in on 1,000 rushing yards, and already has 7 touchdowns through 8 games. His ability to find daylight even behind inconsistent blocking has been nothing short of remarkable, a true bright spot in an offense that's still trying to find rhythm. If Cook can't go against the Dolphins, the Bills will be forced to adapt fast, because losing your top back right before a divisional showdown could completely shift the offensive balance heading into Week 10. When you talk about efficiency, explosiveness, and pure consistency in the Buffalo Bills offense this season, James Cook has been the heartbeat of it all. Even in a system that hasn't always given him wide-open lanes, Cook has managed to dominate the stat sheet in ways that go far beyond what analytics could predict. According to advanced tracking metrics, Cook isn't just good, he's been elite. He currently ranks first in the entire NFL in rushing yards over expected, with an incredible 221 yards gained beyond what the blocking and play design projected. That means when the odds say the run should have been stopped short, Cook's vision, balance, and burst have turned those moments into first downs and highlight plays. And it doesn't stop there. Cook also leads the league in yards over expected per carry, proving that his success isn't a product of volume, it's about sheer efficiency. He's making something out of nothing on nearly every touch. Statistically, it's a season to remember: number 1 in success rate among all running backs, number 1 in rushing yards per game, number 2 in yards per carry, top 5 in lowest stuff rate, meaning defenders rarely stop him behind the line, top 5 in expected points added per rush, EPA. All of this production comes despite defenses selling out to stop him. Opponents are stacking the box against Buffalo at one of the highest rates in the NFL, more than half of Cook's carries come against 8-man fronts. Even then, he continues to produce at a level few backs can match. But here's the concern: an ankle injury doesn't heal overnight. It's the type of setback that can linger, especially for a player who relies on balance and acceleration like Cook. Rushing him back too soon could risk aggravating it just as the Bills enter the most critical stretch of their season. Some close to the team believe it's best to sit him for the Miami game, even if it means losing some explosiveness for a week. The priority is clear: have Cook fully healthy for the final 5 games and the playoff push that follows. Because for Buffalo to make a real run, they'll need that same James Cook, the one turning impossible runs into game-changing moments, back at 100%. It's been one of those weeks in Orchard Park, the kind every team dreads. The Buffalo Bills' Wednesday injury report read more like a medical chart than a roster sheet, with key players across both sides of the ball dealing with setbacks. As the Bills prepare for a critical divisional matchup against Miami, the question isn't just who will step up, it's who will even be available. The most concerning development centers around the defensive front, a group that's quietly been the foundation of Buffalo's success. Veteran edge rusher Joey Bosa was held out of practice due to a wrist injury he aggravated against Kansas City. While he managed to finish that game, the staff is being cautious, and for good reason. Bosa's presence on the edge is vital for maintaining the pass rush pressure that defines this defense. Unfortunately, the list doesn't end there. A.J. Epenesa entered concussion protocol after delayed symptoms surfaced earlier in the week. This marks the second concussion of his NFL career, and with the league's heightened focus on player safety, his availability for Week 10 appears doubtful. Losing Epenesa, especially alongside other defensive line injuries, leaves a significant void in Buffalo's rotation. Then there's Taron Johnson, one of the most underrated defenders in the league, a relentless tackler and arguably one of the NFL's best nickel corners. He continues to battle a lingering groin injury that sidelined him against Kansas City. Johnson's absence hurts more than people realize. He's a crucial piece against both the run and quick passing offenses like Miami's. Daquan Jones also remains limited with a calf issue. Head coach Sean McDermott hinted earlier in the week that Jones might return in a limited capacity, but Wednesday's absence suggests the team is proceeding carefully. His presence inside is irreplaceable, particularly against the Dolphins' high-tempo attack. And as if that wasn't enough, linebacker Shaq Thompson continues to rehab a hamstring injury that has kept him out since Week 9. His coverage ability has been elite all season, ranking near the top of the league in coverage grades, and his absence leaves the Bills' defense thinner and more vulnerable than usual. This long list of injuries couldn't come at a worse time. The Bills are staring down a defining stretch of their season, a divisional battle against Miami followed by a brutal late-season schedule. Depth, discipline, and resilience will determine how this team weathers the storm. Buffalo has been here before, backs against the wall, doubted, and bruised, yet somehow, they always find a way to fight back. The coming week will test not only their depth chart but their character as a contender. As if the injury situation in Buffalo wasn't already heavy, the latest report only adds to the concern. The list of limited participants at Wednesday's practice reveals that this roster is battling far more than just opponents. They're fighting through pain, fatigue, and the grind of a long NFL season. Christian Benford, one of the Bills' most reliable corners this year, was listed as limited with a groin injury. It's an issue he's managed earlier in the season, and while his toughness has never been in question, the team can't afford a setback. Benford's presence in coverage is vital, especially against Miami's blistering passing game that thrives on speed and precision. Next on the list is Terrell Bernard, who continues to nurse an ankle injury that's lingered for much of the year. He's played through discomfort, showing tremendous grit, but the team knows how crucial he is to the defensive structure. If Bernard joins Shaq Thompson on the sideline, the linebacker room could be stretched thin at the worst possible time. Meanwhile, Joshua Palmer also remains limited with an ankle issue that has slowed his rhythm this season. The Bills have counted on him to step up in key offensive moments, and with the team staying quiet at the trade deadline, his health becomes even more important heading into the divisional clash. This extensive injury report tells a clear story. The Bills' roster is worn down after a bruising battle with Kansas City. Some of these players may simply be receiving precautionary rest, but the sheer number of names listed, from starters to depth pieces, paints a picture of a team that's walking a fine line between recovery and readiness. Head coach Sean McDermott understands the balance required here. With Miami up next, he's not just managing a game plan, he's managing bodies, energy, and confidence. The Dolphins' high-tempo attack will test every inch of Buffalo's defense, and McDermott knows that getting his top players healthy might matter more than a single week's practice. Still, amid all the questions, one topic has sparked plenty of debate in Buffalo: the team's inactivity at the trade deadline. General Manager Brandon Beane recently addressed the silence that followed as other teams made big moves. Fans expected a splash, maybe a new weapon or depth piece, but Beane stood firm in his decision to keep the roster intact. Beane explained that Buffalo's approach wasn't about making noise, it was about trusting the foundation. He believes the pieces are already in place for this team to make a run, once everyone is healthy and playing their best football. The front office's message is clear: they're betting on resilience over reaction. The Bills have the talent, the chemistry, and the playoff experience. What they need now is health, focus, and that trademark Buffalo fight. As Week 10 approaches, the question in Buffalo isn't just about preparation, it's about preservation. Head coach Sean McDermott could simply be giving his veterans a breather after a bruising stretch of games, or it could be that the Bills are genuinely worn down heading into one of the most important divisional matchups of the season. Either way, the depth of this roster will be tested once again. One encouraging sign comes from Gabe Davis, who appears to be inching closer to a return. After suffering a devastating knee injury last year in Jacksonville, Davis has spent months grinding through rehab, working quietly toward a comeback. McDermott described his progress as encouraging, noting that Davis could soon return to the practice field. For a team that made no additions at wide receiver before the trade deadline, his recovery could be the spark the offense needs down the stretch. If Davis can get back to full strength, he could serve as a late-season reinforcement, the kind of story Buffalo fans love. The Bills didn't look outside for answers at wide out, and maybe they didn't have to. Sometimes the best addition comes from within. Across the field, the Miami Dolphins have injury troubles of their own. Star pass rusher Chop Robinson remains in concussion protocol and missed Wednesday's practice, leaving serious questions about Miami's defensive front. With Jalen Phillips recently traded and Robinson sidelined, the Dolphins could enter Week 10 without their top two edge defenders. That opens a window for Buffalo's offensive line, and quarterback Josh Allen, to control the tempo. Former Bills corner Rasul Douglas, now with Miami, was also held out due to a lower body injury. If he can't go, the Dolphins' secondary, already one of the league's weakest, becomes even more vulnerable. Simply put, the matchup appears to favor Buffalo. The Bills are the steadier, more complete team, while Miami looks like a group trying to patch holes mid-season. Their organization is in flux, leadership changes, inconsistent performances, and an offense that hasn't found its rhythm. If Buffalo executes at even 80% of its potential, this could be a one-sided contest. Still, McDermott and his players know better than to overlook any opponent. The real focus remains beyond this week, getting healthy and building momentum for the playoff run. This team has endured its share of adversity, but when they're fully loaded, few in the AFC can match their balance or firepower. And finally, General Manager Brandon Beane addressed what many fans have been asking: why the Bills stood still at the trade deadline. His answer was calm but firm. "My job isn't to be reckless," Beane said. "This isn't fantasy football. You don't win championships by making noise in October, you win them by being smart in December and January." It's a reminder that Buffalo's leadership is playing the long game. The vision isn't about chasing headlines, it's about chasing the Lombardi Trophy. The Bills are battered but unbroken. As they turn toward the final stretch, one thing is clear: this team still believes. And with their stars getting healthy and their focus locked in, Buffalo's path to redemption is far from over.